From our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Peter Murphy begins now.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. Restaurants across Tasmania are facing growing calls to pull salmon from their menus as pressure mounts on the embattled sector. Despite damning allegations and fierce public backlash, industry leaders claim sales have never been stronger.
In an industry plagued with controversy, some of our state's most well-regarded restaurants are turning their backs on farmed Tasmanian salmon, including TV personality Matt Evans, a long-time critic of the industry.
But how much do we really know about where our seafood comes from?
What it is, where it's from, how it's caught or farmed.
I think it's really important that you know how the fish got in your dish.
He's made a firm commitment to keep the product off the menu at his Huon Valley restaurant, the Fat Pig Farm. And he's not the only one. The Agrarian Kitchen in the Derwent Valley and Muir's on Hobart's waterfront also following suit. But Salmon Tasmania's outgoing CEO claims business is booming, with sales hitting record numbers.
But they're 7% up on the same time last year, from 1st January to the end of March.
Long-time critic and independent Franklin candidate Peter George isn't buying it.
I've heard it said many times, we're not ordering salmon because it's not good. They have ruined our waterways and they've ruined their own product.
It comes as the sector grapples with the aftermath of a mass mortality event and allegations of animal cruelty.
What we've got to do and what the industry's got to do is demonstrate again through actions that this will not be occurring again to the scale of what it is and restore that confidence to the vast majority of Tasmanians that we think we've always had.
Claiming political motives are fueling the backlash.
There's clearly a concerted effort around some, frankly, pretty outrageous sort of misinformation being put out around the industry by activist organisations, which is all clearly geared around the federal election.
Salmon Tasmania is painting lipstick on a pig.
With Good Friday on the horizon, the question now, can salmon survive the storm? Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmanian News.
Confronting video has emerged showing a group of teens storming a Hobart department store, reportedly intimidating workers and stripping shelves. Thankfully, no one was injured, but it has sparked concern from locals, saying more needs to be done to curb youth crime.
The shocking moment, teens swarm a Big W store, jumping counters and causing chaos. Witnesses reporting products were pulled from shelves, with the groups allegedly intimidating workers. Bystander shoppers and workers outnumbered. Some tried to intervene, squaring off with the youths.
Yeah, it's quite disturbing.
People like that come in and run amok. I feel sorry for the staff.
That's absolutely disgusting because there is children walking around that shop at all point in times.
Yesterday's incident fueled the fire for fed-up locals, saying it happens too often and it only reflects a broader issue of youth antisocial behaviour.
They're running wild, and uncontrolled. They're breaking into people's houses.
I see it all the time, young ones eating violent.
A recent spate of crimes now prompting calls from local MPs, with some saying there is an urgent need for early prevention programs.
We need more early intervention programs, critically, to try and stop crime before it starts, so that we don't see the behaviours that we're seeing through the next generations.
The state government adamant tackling the issue is a priority.
The escalation of youth crime is a concern to everybody. The youth crime issue, the youth homelessness issue, many issues that we need to deal with as a government.
The Police Minister also reaffirming strong action is being taken to crack down on crime with the establishment of several task forces. In a statement, Woolworths Group said there's no place for violence like this anywhere in our community and are offering team members counselling services. Police say what unfolded inside involved 2 groups of youths who were known to each other. Investigations are still underway and anyone with information is being urged to come forward. Rebecca Gaydaneris, 7 Tasmanian News.
3 people have managed to escape serious injury after a fire tore through a Clarendon Vale home early this morning. It took 3 crews to contain the blaze, which gutted much of the Rockingham Drive property. The occupants were treated for smoke inhalation. Authorities are still determining the cause of the fire. Westbury Primary School will be the site of a new childhood education centre if Labor wins the upcoming federal election. The $5 million project will aim to address a shortage of childcare options for families in the area and relieve pressure on centres that currently have long waiting lists.
There are big waiting lists for access to childcare in Tasmania and particularly in the northern part of Tassie. So this service will help to provide an option for parents so they can get back to work or get back to training.
We know that early childhood education and care is pretty critical in those first 5 years of a child's life where 90% of brain development occurs.
It's understood the proposed centre will provide upwards of 70 places. Meanwhile, the State Infrastructure Minister claims Tasmania's investment into roads and bridges could be under threat. That's if federal Labor's move to impose a 50-50 funding split is put in motion. Kerry Vincent says he's disappointed Prime Minister Anthony Albanese didn't support an 80-20 funding agreement.
We're only a small state. We do not have the amount of population or the industrial strength to fund these projects on a 50-50 basis.
He claims Labor's position disadvantages smaller states like ours and it would be a disaster for Tasmania's infrastructure developments. A Tasmanian Greens candidate has been forced to drop out of the federal election after discovering he holds a dual citizenship with New Zealand. 19-year-old Owen Fitzgerald was running for the seat of Franklin. He says he was unaware of the extra citizenship which he inherited from his father.
It is disappointing, but it is a bump in the road for my political career. This is not the end.
Section 44 is a disgrace. It has no place in a modern, multicultural, liberal democracy, and it should be struck out of the Constitution.
The Greens have blamed an administrative error in the party's candidate vetting process. Tasmanian Labor has requested briefings with the government regarding the Macquarie Point Stadium, despite pledging unconditional support for it. Dean Winter says although the government has chosen to bypass the project of state significance process for special legislation, it won't stop opposition scrutiny.
Our job is to make sure this is as good as it possibly can be, and that means holding the government to account, understanding every single aspect of it.
I find that comment very strange, seeing the Premier rang Mr Winter on Sunday and I understand is still waiting for a phone call back. So that was part of that briefing process.
The government says all parliamentarians will be briefed. Heart-stopping video has emerged of another Tasmanian driver dicing with death at a level crossing. It's prompted exasperated authorities to issue yet another urgent plea for road users to stop trying to beat oncoming trains.
The nearest of misses. This vehicle slipping through a level crossing moments before a train passes by.
When you see just how close it was, your heart stops.
The incident on Ulverston's main street, one of several recent run-ins on the rails between trains and vehicles.
We're seeing a lot of risk-taking behaviour and we're up 45% across the state.
Including a close call on Old Bell Bay Road at Georgetown. The uptick prompting authorities to deliver a message they're sick of repeating.
The car is always going to come off second best in those occurrences.
Pleading with drivers to stop testing their luck against approaching trains.
They can't swerve, they can't brake suddenly, they're at the complete mercy of that motorist.
The message extending to not just road users, but to anyone in the vicinity of trains, including this eager blackberry picker. Tasmania Police says it will increase patrols and monitoring of high-risk crossings. This driver issued a fine of $454 plus 3 demerit points. Tasrail says its level crossings comply with rail industry standards.
What is not compliant at the moment is the motorist behaviour.
Asking drivers to stop and appreciate the majesty of the rails.
Taking the time that it takes to wait and watch that train go past and just appreciate for what it is. Everyone loves a good train.
The onus on those behind the wheel to make sure they veer away from dangerous decisions.
Respect the fact that the train cannot stop.
Before a stupid mistake becomes a fatal one. Tom Crosby, 7 Tasmanian News.
Workers at Tolosa Street's adult mental health service in Hobart fear their jobs are on the chopping block. It follows reports that emerged earlier this month that the service will be shut down within the next 2 years. They claim it will be detrimental for the northern suburbs.
It's a 12-bed facility that provides vital support for people with mental health conditions. It means that they are able to get out of the Royal Hobart Hospital and be treated in a more relevant facility, and one that obviously alleviates bed block.
There is no job losses or loss of services. It will continue. There is a moving of facility, but that's all.
The government says the move is aimed at accommodating more services for the area. With almost 40% of Tasmania's homeless population under the age of 25, there are continued calls for the government to boost social housing and support services. Advocates using National Youth Homelessness Matters Day to shed light on the barriers young homeless people can face.
Jonas was only 17 when family breakdown and domestic violence forced him to flee his home.
It's an exhausting experience. You know, a lot of people take for granted that you've got a house. Growing up, you've got a house, you've got support. Having that ripped out from under you at, just when you're getting started is honestly terrifying.
Couch surfing and sleeping in his car, his mental health and school were the most impacted.
You end up putting a lot of your goals on the back burner because, that energy that you would be putting into, finishing your degree or going to uni or going and getting a TAFE degree, you are now putting into just finding a roof.
It's an experience that youth advocates fear is far too common, with almost 2,000 young Tasmanians needing homeless support services every year, prompting calls for the government to boost dedicated youth homelessness plans and focus on social housing and early intervention programs.
The earlier we intervene, the better the outcome for children and young people.
They also say youth allowance and job seeker payments fall short and needs to be raised to match the pension rate.
Actually living below the poverty line. That makes it very difficult for them to be able to find a house.
The Glenorchy Council hosting an event in Tolosa Park today to highlight the need for safe and supportive spaces for young people.
The conversation needs to start in the community so we can keep the pressure on our leaders to actually make it a priority.
Billy Gibbons, 7 Tasmanian News.
Hotels and businesses in Hobart CBD are being urged to get into the winter spirit and help drench the city in red as part of Dark Mofo. It's a chance to be part of a big citywide celebration, with our hospitality industry being encouraged to get creative.
Lighting up the building or the bars in red, it can be putting on a red chocolate drink, it can be changing your bed sheets in the hotel to red.
We are new in town, but we're really embracing that whole Dark Mofo.
The festival will run from June the 1st. One of the country's last traditional department store cafes is about to put the close sign up for good. Neil Pitt's coffee shop will soon serve its last meals as the iconic Tasmanian menswear store prepares to downsize.
It's remained a cherished Launceston staple for decades.
A young girl, you'd take her out and try and impress her. It'd either be here or Pierre's around the corner.
As other department store cafes closed, the Neil Pitt's coffee shop stood the test of time.
It survived because it's had a very loyal following. Grandparents bring in their grandkids for a lime spider, or a milkshake.
That was until now. The menswear store is downsizing, meaning the closed sign will soon go up for good.
The space that we have here is now so much bigger than we need.
It's not the end of the business though. Instead, it's relocating to the nearby Old Brisbane Arcade.
It's going to be the same, the same service, same attitude, the same values.
After 55 years of dressing Launceston men from the old Majestic Theatre, there's still plenty of memories to live on.
There's a lot of history here. This building's been part of my life. Coming in here as a kid, very different era, people smoking with all the big ashtrays on the floor.
They've always been wonderful. The staff have been amazing.
The move means a new era for the Majestic Theatre itself. It will hit the market soon, opening up the doors for a fresh chapter in its rich history.
Put it back to being a picture theatre again, which it was when I was a kid.
Till then, it's business as usual until July. Victoria Risto, 7 Tasmania News.
Port Arthur's most recognised building could be in line for a major restoration and preservation work. Labor's promising almost $9 million for ongoing maintenance to the site's iconic penitentiary if re-elected at the upcoming federal election. A recent survey revealed extensive conservation and safety works are required to maintain the condition of the 182-year-old structure. An East Coast community group has had a big shock live on breakfast television. The St Helens Neighbourhood House knew they were in line for a donation, but Sunrise weatherman Sam Mack had even a bigger surprise in store.
And you thought you were getting $20,000, you're actually getting $100,000!
Wow! Oh my gosh!
Are you okay?
Look,
Look, you don't know how much this means to the community, the young people. We have an incredible team here, and this work is just going to make so much difference to what we can do.
The funds will be used to support young people across the Break O'Day region.
After getting off the mark in the SFL with a 29-point win over Kingborough on the weekend, the Clarendon men have a job ahead of them to keep it going. They're coming up with a plan to dispatch undefeated North Hobart, who've staged a huge turnaround from last season.
They're pretty fit at the moment, pretty clean with the ball. They're transitioning the ball well, so if we can manage to stop that, I think that'll go a long way to helping us win on the weekend.
The Clarendon women are on a hot streak of their own, and they have a pretty simple explanation.
Last year we had all the pieces there, we just didn't have that linkage between us players as a group. This year we've really connected and bonded as a team that now it's all starting to come together.
Elsewhere, Brighton play Kingborough and Glenorchy play Lauderdale. Not something you hear every day, the Jackies' newest signing loves playing defence. Guard Ben Eyre heads to Tassie from South East Melbourne on a 2-year deal after hearing all about the club from former teammate Majuk Deng. And while he says he's no stranger to a three-pointer, he's got more to offer.
Passion just kind of comes out on the court. I can be a bit chippy, maybe talk a little on the court. But, I hope that's something that I can bring as a really positive light to the team and, to the fans and show passion on the court.
Currently playing in Germany, Eyre arrives here in August and is currently looking for a roommate. He's in talks with fellow free agency signing Nick Marshall. 0-5 so far this season, the Tornadoes aren't allowing their sluggish start to weigh on their minds. They'll spend the Easter bye week working on the simple mistakes that keep costing dearly in close losses.
I definitely think the more time we're spending together and the more games we're playing, we're definitely improving. And yeah, we're right there in lots of the games and we've just come up short.
We are so close, and it's just a matter of getting that full squad together and then being able to close out games.
Next week is a home doubleheader beginning with Geelong on Anzac Day. Olympic bronze medal and a WNBA final. It's been a big 12 months for Hobart basketballer Alanna Smith. Full of passion for the game, she's spending her downtime in Tassie coaching the next generation before heading back to the States for another crack at the silverware.
The chaos of a school holiday basketball camp might not be many people's idea of downtime, but that's where you'll find Alanna Smith this week on her trip home after a whirlwind 12 months.
Smith goes in! Huge move late on in this bronze medal clash.
Becoming an Olympic bronze medalist with a starring role for the Opals in Paris and reaching the pinnacle of the game in the USA, playing the WNBA decider with the Minnesota Lynx.
I mean, as a kid, I'd always wanted to play for Australia and at an Olympics, and so to do that and win a medal as well was awesome. And then playing in a WNBA finals was something that I'd never dreamed of, but it was just an amazing experience.
As her career goes from strength to strength, Smith is hoping to help inspire the next generation. Hundreds of youngsters showing up to free clinics to improve their game.
It's really, really cool to see the popularity of women's sports and especially basketball. These camps are really, really cool to just keep that momentum going, letting them know that this is fun. Playing basketball is really fun. Just have that passion for the game.
Smith returns to training herself shortly ahead of the Lynx WNBA season opener on May 17, on a mission to go one better after narrowly missing last year's championship in a tight Game 5 loss.
Making it all the way to a finals and not quite getting over the line was amazing but devastating at the same time. So the goal is to, go that extra step and win the final. But yeah, we've got to kick off first. It's a long road to that point.
Good evening. Hobart saw 25 today. Launceston managed 20 degrees. It was 19 in Devonport and 18 in Burnie. Grove, King Island and Strahan sharing the state's top of 25, 24 on Flinders Island and at Bushy Park. Low Head and Friendly Beaches 20, 18 at St Helens and 14 in Lyowini. Low cloud was experienced over northern parts of the state today, particularly this morning. A mid to high level cloud band moved over Tasmania and Victoria throughout the day as tropical cyclone Errol approached the northwest of Broome. Tomorrow a trough will linger to the west of the state and will further extend into parts of Victoria and South Australia. East-northeasterly winds for most waters building upward of 20 knots. Southwesterly swells increasing to 2.5 metres in the west. Possible showers in Hobart tomorrow, 22. A few showers also in Cygnet, 21. And much the same in New Norfolk with 24. Possible late showers in Launceston, 24. A 70% chance of showers in Devonport, 20. Maybe some showers too for Campbelltown with 22 there. Those showers also heading west, 20 for Burnie, Strawn 22, and 21 the maximum at Smithton. St Helens is the place to be tomorrow with a mostly sunny 21 degrees, lovely too in Swansea 23, but a possible shower in Fingal, 22 is the top. Isolated showers statewide on Good Friday, although they're most likely about the north in the morning. More isolated showers across the state on Easter Saturday. And on Easter Sunday, that wet weather is forecast to continue, but I'm sure it won't dampen the Easter spirit. We'll take a look now at what's happening further across the country tomorrow. Fine in Melbourne, 29, 24 with easing showers later in Sydney. A partly cloudy day in the city of Churches with 26 degrees. And partly cloudy right now in Hobart, 15, much the same in Launceston with 15 also, and 14 in Devonport. Now they won't be happy campers quite literally, as a wet Easter is well and truly on the cards this year, Murph.
Well, if you're having Easter in Tasmania, it's great no matter what the weather. Thanks, Kaya. Kaya, Nick and I will be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us this evening. Good night.